All right, so I thought I was done with talking about confidence, but Jamari left a very good comment that I want to address. And I want to address his comment while adding some more to it because I believe it's that important. So let's go back to confidence. And you say, Coach, I've done everything it is that you've said to do in your videos. I watched your 3 things and I believe and I have faith, but it's not me, Coach. It is my coach. And this leads me to the question I heard a while ago. And it was like, do you go play for a program or do you go play for a coach? And I'm going to talk about the coaching aspect, but I believe that people have great explanations as to why they would choose a program and why they would choose a coach. But I'm going to say why I would choose a coach. And talking about the importance of coaches and how they can either build your confidence or how they can completely destroy it, I want to talk about what I believe that you should do if your coach is a problem. Because I'm just a loyal person, so I would do everything it is before I consider transferring. The number one thing I would do is I would ask myself, is this the way that my coach coaches? So it's important that you don't make assumptions, and it's important that you don't take things personally, because that just can be their coaching style. So is it that they're picking on you, or are they just treating everybody like that? Like, is that his or her history? The second thing that I would do is I would open my mouth. I did a video on this that said closed mouths don't get fed. That was one of my problems as a player. So you have to have communication with your coach. And also, I would go to him first before you went to him with your parents, because coaches respect you if you are of a certain age when you come to them directly. So you need to talk to him or her to see where they're coming from, because they could be harder on you because they have greater expectations for you and they're trying to get the very best out of you. Now, the other part to this, and you might not want to hear it, but it very well could be the reason why they're on you, is because you're simply not ready. Like, they see your potential, but you might not be ready to have a lot of playing time. And so just say, for example, you might be an offensive person. Like, you love playing offense, that's your thing, and you're very good at it. But you play for a defensive minded coach, and they're not going to put you in until you become the defensive player that they're looking for you to become. And so you have to consider this, because if you're not willing to get on board with them, then you might want to consider transferring. Doesn't mean you're right, doesn't mean that the coach is right. It just means that your playing style does not fit that system. And the third thing that I would do if your confidence is still being hurt by your coach is this is where your parents need to get involved. A lot of times as players, I remember when I was a player, I'm like, Lord, please don't go talk to the coach. Like, that's so embarrassing. But sometimes this is mandatory and it is essential, because if you say, okay, I'm not taking this personally, I've talked to them myself, things still have not changed, then it is your parents' obligation to talk to your coaches. And they need to ask questions like, what do you expect of him or her? So there needs to be clear expectations. Another question they can ask is, what role do you see my child playing? Now, if a coach cannot answer these questions, then chances are they might not have planned on incorporating you anyway, and that's a problem in itself. Another reason why your parents need to talk to your coach is because almost always, and I've experienced this as a player and as a coach, but if your talent level or your skill level is similar to somebody else's, and coaches trying to determine who to put in the game, then almost 100% of the time, they're going to go with the parent who they have spoken to, just because they're front of mind, and honestly, just to get them to shut up as well. And so the fourth thing that I would do is, if your coach is still hurting your confidence and you're losing yourself as a player, you seriously need to consider transferring. And remember, I am a loyal person, which means transferring is last thing on my list. So like you've done everything it is that you can do. And no, you're not a perfect player, but there's no perfect player, but you've done everything that you know to do. You have faith and you believe, but you're still losing confidence because for whatever reason, and your coach is not trying to help you out. Because let's be real. The truth is if you're not confident, you're not good for anyone. You're not good for your team. You're not good for yourself. You're not good for anyone. And if you're going to continue, the thing is that if you're not confident, you're going to continue to make mistakes and be hesitant. So then just say you're a creative player. Like you like to do no look passes. You like to be a little flashy. You like to do step backs, that sort of thing. Once you lose your confidence, you're not going to do those things, and it's going to make you into a player you're not. So you're going to be average and mediocre instead of standing out. And if you're not standing out, then coaches are not looking for you for scholarships, then opportunities are not being presented because you're blending in with everyone else. So when you're not confident, this can be a huge problem because it takes you away from being the player that makes you different than everyone else. And so I want to talk to my parents because this is so important. Parents, you have an obligation to protect your child. So if you see this, then you absolutely need to go talk to the coach and see what you can do. My dad always said this when I was playing. He said, people will only do what you allow them to do. And this reminded me of Ja Morant and his story. His dad, Ja Morant, I can't remember if he was in high school or if he was in middle school, but he was struggling with the coach. And his dad asked him one day, I guess after practice or one day, is your confidence being hurt? Is he hurting your confidence? And Ja said, yeah. And he immediately removed him from playing from that coach because he understood the impact of hurt confidence and how it can affect you, not only in basketball, but for life. So I always talk about this. The sports is so beautiful because it has a beautiful correlation to life. Like if you work hard in sports, a lot of times you're going to work hard outside of the court, outside of the field, whatever it is that you do. But there's two sides of every sheet of paper. So just like it's beautiful, it can be very ugly. And what I mean by that is if you lose yourself because you are not confident, because someone has torn you down, like a coach has torn you down at a sport, then you will start to lose confidence in life. You will start to lose yourself and not be the same person that you were. It can completely change your personality. So maybe you were confident at first. It showed up in your schoolwork. It showed up in extracurricular activities. It showed up in friendships, whatever it is. But now because your confidence has been hurt on the court, you're not making the grades that you once were making. You're not the same friend that you were before. It can just show up in any area of your life. And then the thing is that, like I said, that it not only can affect you as a child, but you have to be careful because it can follow you into adulthood. And most people are not strong enough to pull themselves out of this. And they just become a not confident adult because of what stemmed from their childhood. So I always say this, confident kids usually turn into confident adults because they had someone to love them, who encouraged them, and who believed in them. And the other side to that is insecure or timid kids usually turn into insecure or timid adults because they had somebody who neglected them or who did not believe in them, who discouraged them, who spoke down to them, and it affected them mentally, physically, and spiritually. And so this is why I believe that choosing the right coach for your kids is of utmost importance because it is a part of their development, and it will, I guarantee you, it will play a part in who they become as an adult. So parents, you must do your homework on who it is that you are entrusting your kid to, like their future depends on it, because I kid you not, it absolutely does. And the reason I'm so passionate about this is because unfortunately it was my story, and I understand that how a coach can completely destroy a kid's confidence and how it can follow them into adulthood. And but fortunately, the other side to that is that it made me who I am today because of my faith, because I had believing parents who instilled a relationship or planted the seeds of having a relationship with Christ, and how like everything was working out for my good, and just to have faith. It was because of that I didn't go crazy, honestly. But it also opened my eyes, though. I knew I had to go through that in order to be able to do this, what I'm doing right now. But it opened my eyes to see that I was not the only kid. I was not the only person who went through this. That there are so many kids out there who are going through the very same thing. And I just believe that I went through that, and as painful as it was, I would do it all over again. And I believe that I went through that to share my knowledge and the wisdom that I believe that God has given me to share with you guys. So my only request is that, because I'm helping you and I really am putting you on game, is that you don't make these same mistakes, that you learn from these mistakes, and that you grow from it. Because I want you to be everything it is that God has called you to be, and not just in the sports realm, but outside of the sports realm. But I believe that if you are playing a sport, then it can help you with whatever it is that you do in life. That's why it's important, parents, on who you entrust your kid to, because they will shape your kid's future. So this was probably my most heartfelt message that I've done, because I've been there, but I'm very adamant, I'm very intentional, and I'm very serious about this topic. And if you have any other questions, or please just let me know, and I would love to address them, especially when it comes to this topic. So that's all I got for this. As always, I hope it helps.